Okay, welcome back. In this video we're going to install a rudder. Now the rudder has two gluing steps to it because you're going to glue epoxy, use epoxy to glue the tail wheel rod into here, and then you're going to use thin CA to glue the CA hinges on. I got two kinds of sticks. I got my regular square little sticks. I've got some very small wooden toothpicks to help get that CA down in the little hole here. And my CA holder and cup. I'm going to use 30-minute epoxy, even though it's just a tiny little bit. It gives me more working time, so I've got my CA ready. I'm got my 30-minute epoxy ready. I do have my CA ready, and my CA applicator tip, and some alcohol and paper towels and cotton swabs if I need them. I got my little ruler here. I use a little ruler to sort of push that thing in to make sure it goes in all the way. The other thing before you start is I've got all the hinges in place with the T-pins, as you can see. And also I'm going to hold this tail wheel up and make sure it goes in the hole. And as I do, I want to make sure that the top of the rudder, there's enough room for it to be above, because you've got a little collar down here on the tail wheel, and you don't want that down too far because you want the top of the rudder to match the top of the horizontal stab, or the vertical stab. Excuse me. So I think that's everything. We'll go ahead and start gluing. So first thing I'm going to do is mix up the epoxy. Put a little on the give me a little paper towel here to catch any drips. But I'm going to put a little on the tip of the wire, and so we're only need a small amount. But even a small amount is going to be a little bit larger for me because I don't like to run out. So here we go. I'm not going to coat the bottom, but I'm going to just make sure there's two nice little puddles in the bottom of the cup. And make sure those two little puddles of glue are the same size. Okay, that one's done, that one's done. Okay. So let me give a little more of this shot. Okay, there we go. Okay, put the red cap on that one, put the white cap on this one, and those are done. Alright, so let's start doing a little stirring here. Now this time I'm going to be using sticks instead of paintbrushes, so I'll just stir this up good and then use it to start the process here. Okay. Okay, that looks well mixed. You get a little on the stick here, and I'm just going to put it in the groove first of this rudder. A little bit more, and starting up toward the hole. Just let it ooze in there. Don't want too much because it's going to most of all of it's going to ooze out. I'm going to put just a tiny little bit around the tip of this. Okay, just sort of coat it. Not too heavy. You can actually wiping a little off. And that should be it. It's going to ooze out a little, but we'll see. Alright, so I'm going to raise the tail wheel up enough to make sure that it goes in the hole. I'm going to push this all the way back till I get ready to put the hinges in. First hinge is in, second hinge is in, third hinges in. I always find it easier to put these hinges in starting bottom to top. Don't know why that worked, but that's what I do. Okay, so all 3 hinges are started. And now we'll get them all down all the way. Get my little metal ruler. Make sure that this wire gets pushed all the way in and seated where that epoxy is. Okay, no epoxy's oozing out, and that's actually good. I'm going to put that up there. You don't want any epoxy to be all right. That's good. So that's seated. I'm going to take this out. I think I'll actually use a cotton swab to, I see a small little drip of epoxy dripping down. I want to catch that with a cotton swab. Both sides of the cotton swab. Swab a little on the other side here. All right. Okay, that actually looks pretty good. That worked better than I expected. I had another airplane like this. It was actually a SIG airplane that did this the same way, and it actually worked pretty well. So I liked how this went in. All right, so now I'm going to make sure the CA hinges are in place. I'm going to push the top of this down just slightly, okay, and make sure the CA hinges are all the way seated. And I guess while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and raise. I'm going to take the 1.5 millimeter hex wrench and loosen this collar and raise it to the bottom, and that get that nice and tight. Okay. And the CA hinges look good. My nose wheel, my tail wheel is actually now straighter than it was, and I'm going to pull out the T-pins. The CA hinges look good. The wire looks good. Yeah, there's still a bit of ooze coming out that bottom. That's going to do that until it sets. But that's okay. I've got plenty of cotton swabs to get that out. And I'll go ahead and get my proof stick here, so that'll tell me when the 30-minute epoxy is dry. And okay, so now what I'm going to do is pull this back over here and turn it sideways and put in my thin CA. So I've got my thin CA and my applicator tip, and put at least 2 drops on each side of the hinge. So I got, make sure the CA is flowing good. It is. Okay, so I'm going to put 1-2 drops on this side. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. That's good. And flip the airplane over, and then do 6 more drops on this side of the CA hinges. And you can bend the rudder down a little bit so it exposes the hinge a little bit better. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. All right. So now I want to clean up any CA that hit the covering. A little drip right there that I hit on the middle one. That looks good. Now what I'm going to do, those CA hinges all look good. I'm going to turn it over and then look at the epoxy. And turning it over won't affect the CA hinges, but will affect which way the epoxy tries to gravitate. And if the epoxy is going to gravitate in any direction, I want it to gravitate down and not get any epoxy on the wire there. So that's good. You take this off and put the cap back on. Where'd the other cap go? Here it is. Okay, I like the dynamite cap with the steel pin in it. Get out the debonder. Put this on the debonder. Spray some debonder through the tip. Okay. And so that tip, okay, is nice and clean again. We can throw this away. And we can put the cap back on this, and we can check our proof stick. It's still nice and loose, nowhere near dry yet. Not been 30 minutes. Okay, I'm just going to let that, there I am. I'm over here looking at the tail. I'm just going to let this thing sit for the next 2 hours. Let all that dry nice and carefully. I don't flex the hinges until they're good and dry. The CA will dry quicker than the epoxy. So I'm just going to wait till the epoxy has got 2 hours on it, and that makes sure that the CA is dry as well. And I think we got a rudder on. One last check to make sure the bottom of the rudder down here is flush with the, I'm sorry, the top of the rudder is flush with the top of the vertical stab. That the tail wheel is moving nicely, and we're good to go. Thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.